Oh, I guess I'm live. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I am. I'm trying this on my phone. So welcome to the Homo Sanity Show. I'm hoping this will be recorded. I'm doing a quick one today. This is fascinating. I'm looking at the dashboard and seeing how this works. Very fascinating. Anyhow, so the first topic I want to talk about today is, can you be sex positive and Christian or spiritual? I was reading a post recently about a guy who was bashed about some stuff he put on his social media post, because he's kind of, a bit sexually out there, and people really, I've noticed that recently, um, that if you put anything out there, people are really quick to judge you on pretty much most of anything. I remember being a part of actually even a, a gay church, and when I left that church, it was very interesting to see the people from that church who came to my page just to argue with me about stuff that I would put on my post. And that's all they would do. And I would eventually, after giving them so many warnings, just have to unfriend them. And it's funny that would be an issue with people that were supposed to be part of a church. Um, I'm probably different than most Christians are. I'm 54. I'm older now, and I just tend to think that, yes, you can be sex positive. I think that a lot of people tend to take some things like way too literal, from the Bible, that we have this kind of Americanized version of the Bible. And in the early churches, before there was this puritanical kind of crackdown, um, sexuality wasn't such a big shaming thing. If we look back in the Old Testament, God still saw David as one heart with him, and he had many wives. And I'm not saying that we should go back to many wives. By the way, I'm gay, but I'm not talking about wives. But I'm just saying that God didn't cut people off because of their sex lives. And nowhere in the Bible does it talk about, and nowhere does Jesus talk about being gay or really stress a lot about that kind of stuff. I remember there was a sexual integrity group in our church. And oh my God, they were so hardcore that if you jacked off, like people were confessing about jacking off like it was Alcoholics Anonymous. And there's nothing about that in the Bible. I know some people quote something from the Old Testament. Well, my God, that was to do with the priesthood. And in the Old Testament, the priests had a different regulation to follow anyhow. So it's just kind of crazy. I gotta see, am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. Sorry if anybody's listening. I'm on a phone app and I'm not used to doing this phone app. But so I just think that's crazy. How are you guys doing out there? You can chime in if you want to chime in about that. Do you think you can be sex positive and a spiritual or Christian person? Go ahead and come on if you want to chime in about that. I'm actually sitting here in a parking lot right now at my gym, and I'm seeing this real strict religious guy who gets in our jacuzzi and is so loud about his strict religious beliefs in the jacuzzi that we all have to listen to, going into the gym. It's ironic. So if you want to chime in about that, you can. On that note, I want to talk about switching kind of gears. Pentecostal penises. Pentecostal penises. I don't want to slam people who are Pentecostal, and not that I'm not saying that all Pentecostal people are bad. I don't mean to say that, but there is dangers in the Pentecostal faith, and I want to warn about that because as a gay person who was seeking out faith questions around being able to balance their sexuality and their faith, Pentecostal churches were not very welcoming, and I don't find them to be necessarily how do I put this? And I don't want to say this about all Pentecostal churches, so I'm not, understand me. But it's a lot about feelings and goose pimples and miracles and signs and wonders. And you got to talk in tongues and you got to do what we say. And our elders are the ones hearing from God and the anointed ones and all that stuff. I remember talking to one guy where, he was the husband of a Pentecostal church, and they were upset because, somebody was coming in and choosing to date somebody in their church, and it's like, no, you can't date somebody here you can't date one of our members. You have to run this by us, and you have to be here for so long before you can do that. I'm like, you know what? If two people decide that they are adults and want to do that, why would they have to run that by you? It's just weird kind of stuff in those things. But they were not very accepting of homosexuality either in those faiths. So I would just watch out. So that's just my little warning on that. All right, next topic, and please feel free to join in on any of these topics that I'm talking about. As I go past them, you can go back to one of them. Next topic is Pronoun Wars. The Pronoun Wars. In our community, in our LGBT community, we have pronouns, and we emphasize those. He, she, they, them. And, I'm just getting my mind able to wrap around for my transgender friends, they, them. And that was a really hard one for me to get my mind wrapped around at first. I'll just be honest with you. I didn't want to, but I have, because I really have transgender friends that I care about. I've said this story on my other podcast before, that I was actually pretty pissed off one time because I was taken in front of a board. Well, I was going to be taken in front of a board for misgendering a transgender in a sports league because they never told me their pronoun. I was on a sports league. We all got along together fine. And then months later, I got a notice, hey, we're going to have to bring you before the board because this person on your team said that you purposely misgendered them. And I was like, what are you talking about? And come to find out, they expected that in this noisy afterbar after our sporting event that we went to, that I should have overheard her correcting others, even though she never told me what her pronoun was. So we're all up in arms about these pronouns, a little too sensitive at times. But the point that I want to get to, it's not that I don't think pronouns are important, because I know when I was a kid, if I answered the phone and somebody called me a she because my voice was higher, it kind of bothered me. It did sting. So I can get that. But I find what's actually hurting the transgender community when I talk to transgenders right now is there's so many things going on right now with people identifying with pronouns as animals, rats and things, and ethereal animals and seasons, and is so muddying the waters that it's almost making it a joke for them. And some transgenders are kind of getting upset about it. Excuse the motorcycle bike. And I get that. I totally get that. And I actually think, I don't know what you guys think, I would like to hear, but we have LGBTQ, IABCD. I mean, the whole alphabet up in there. I mean, everybody wants a letter in there. And everything is just getting so muddied that it's losing any kind of value. And it's almost like a fight to see what else can somebody be offended by. It's like, oh, you think you understand and you got a grip on it? Well, here's something else you can be offended by. No, you don't understand. But it's actually muddying the waters for people now. And I'm concerned for my transgender friends, actually, because I'm just getting used to they, them. What do you guys think about that? If anybody wants to jump in on that topic. I can't tell whether there's anybody in this room or not. Doesn't look like it. So I'm going to keep going because I'm going to work out here in a minute. But that is frustrating. And I know that pronouns are important to people. Again, I'm not saying that it's not, and that, you don't want to respect somebody's pronouns. But it's just getting so muddied. The last topic I want to talk about today is this controversy with Harrison Butkel. Maybe that last name is fitting. I was really outraged when I heard some of the quotes online about him, what he was saying. We all were. But I found something interesting about a week later that Snopes, the online place that checks for fake news, came out with a number of quotes that have been put out about him. Many of the major ones were actually not true. They were posted by fake mock websites, actually exaggerating stuff from his commencement speech. So I went and watched the commencement speech, and I have to say it was difficult to listen to for me because of what he had to say about Biden, all his Catholic extreme views. It was hard to listen to, and I used to be a Catholic, so it's not that I don't respect Catholicism, but he's way off on Catholic views. But he was not saying anywhere near what those quotes have been online. He actually got very tearful and very respectful about his wife. He was not saying that women can't think for themselves or that they should have more babies than they have thoughts. Nothing even close to that. And we have to be very, very careful, even with people that we don't like, that if we just buy into fake news like that. Because now people are coming out, organizations are coming out and saying, well, we don't support what he said about women. And now I don't support what he says about what he thinks about a woman's choice on abortion. I'm on a different side about that. But unless I missed something in the speech, I didn't hear anything as far as the quotes that are being circulated online that were true. And Snopes has reported that none of that was true. So we have to be very, very careful, because then what that does is it means that when somebody that we really like and believe in gets misquoted, then people are going to believe it and not question it. And that's a scary, scary thing. We have a number of scary things happening. There was a guy in Texas, a politician, a Democrat, who was voted in, and now he's being his court or his was it a judge? I think it was a judge that was voted in, or somebody. He's going to have to go through election again because they determined that the election wasn't valid. It was just like a mini capsule of what all the MAGA people wanted to do here with the presidential election, for all those reasons. So that's scary. Scary things going on in little pocket ways. We've got to be very careful and watch that and stand against that kind of stuff. All right, this was a little live broadcast that I wanted to do today because I'm actually going to work out. I wanted to see how this app worked on the phone, and I'm going to check the recording later. But thank you for listening if you're listening. And if you want to chime in, I'm going to pause here for a minute. If you want to chime in for a second. Otherwise, I'm going to hang up the line. I hope this is working. I guess I'll find out later, folks. Hey, have a good Saturday.